Welcome to Trading Lounge and the SP 500 for the 4th of March, and starting with the S&P on the weekly chart here. Well, we're either in a flat or a triangle, so we'll either end up looking at this in terms of an A wave, a B wave, which we'll take a look at this current rally soon, and wave C here, or we'll end up seeing 5 waves down here for this scenario here, as a flat correction. So we're either looking at 3 waves down or we're looking at 5 waves down. So it's interesting though, isn't it? Because, this strong trend here, we can see it with Apple, where it's got it's been lifted by the tech stocks in a way. They've got these nice trends to the upside that are still continuing to the upside. And then we can look at the triangle pattern, where we've got, say, the Bank of America here, where we've got an A wave here and a B wave here. There's an A and a B and a C here for this, and looking at 5 waves down here. So it doesn't make it look like a triangle here, but when we look at Goldman Sachs, for instance, it does start to look more like a triangle pattern here. So it's still a little bit iffy at this stage what we've got. So we need to trade what we see. We need to only understand the internal wave count, so the structure moving down through here and moving back and so forth. So the internal structures is the thing that we'll trade at this particular point, and we'll leave the guessing game of the count to others at this point. So I'd rather just stay with the evidence as such. So what we've been looking at here, where can I cut in here for this? Maybe we just have a look. There's a couple of counts that can be had for this particular move down through here, as you know. So I'll just start with this one on the 4-hour chart. So in one way, we're looking at this coming down because we can count this as 3 waves down here as well. So we're looking for a 38.2% retracement level for wave 4 here, and then down for wave 5. It has pulled above the 38.2% retracement level. So we can pretty much negate this particular count here. It is possible to put wave 1 here though. And then we'll look for wave 2. So I'll just clean these up here. So in this case here, it's possible to look for this as an A and a B and a C wave coming in for wave 2 and down, or an A wave and a B wave here as well. There is a possible alternative as well that we'd need to keep an eye on, is to have this in place here, because that's pulled back up to the 50% retracement level. So it's possible to have that sitting in there at a low retracement level at the 50% here. The thing that I don't like about this is that this move up here counts quite nicely as 5 waves moving to the upside. It doesn't look like it when we're looking at the futures and so on, but let's just cruise in. So that's still that count there, so that's not what we want. This is the ABC count here, where we count 5 waves down from the top, which is leaving this as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and down for 5 here, and then 1 and 2 here for that, and the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th here for the A wave, the B wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the C wave here. So it's possible this can be part of the triangle pattern here. And then looking at this as wave A here, wave B here, and then wave C here. So like I mentioned, this move through here, it's still difficult to count. This is a move where we've got 5 waves down here in this case. So this still counts quite nicely here, where we've actually got 5 waves coming down through here. It counts quite nicely like that. This is a little bit difficult to count coming up here for the A wave here. We're talking about trading it from the 100, from the 3,000 to the to the 100 yesterday. We're waiting for a pullback here, and if this is correct, then we can look to trade up to this point here. This is, like I mentioned, a little bit difficult to count here. It does give a bit of a variety, but when we look at the cash market here, the physical market, from the low here on a 5-minute chart, we can look at, let me just bring this across here. So we can look at this, can count as 5 waves up here, then an A wave here, a B wave, and a C wave in 5 waves here. We do have a double bottom here, so you probably could count that differently, but this can also count, this is the same fingerprint as this one here, it can count up for 5, and the thing I like about this is this one here counts down as 3 waves here. So we can look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, a nice strong 3rd wave here, 4th wave here, and this counts up here for 5 waves here. This looks like a 4th wave and has pulled back to the roughly 38%. So we can look at this as wave 1 here, an ABC for wave 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave, 4th wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the 5th wave up here. So if we've got 5 waves here, then after a correction it pulls back to the 61.8%, then we can look for another 5 waves up. So if we take that on board here, we're only at the 50-odd% so far in this particular correction here, but and it could pull back into the 61.8% here. It's also sticking to this number here, the 3,000 here. So what we could say here is that just have a little bit of patience and look for a setup here. I mean, this was the nice setup here that I mentioned yesterday, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, then the pullback, and then we can go long from this point here. So we can pretty much do the same over here again as well. So we can look to go long, in a nutshell, above this point here for this. So I'll just put that in there for that. You can obviously get a better entry than that as well. Perhaps we could have a look at that as well, but just on the outset, trading long from that point would be fine from that there. So right, let's just have a look at the tick chart on this. I don't think I've done any work on it, but we'll have a bit of a look. Let's just get a bit more data in here. So yes, look, we can get another low here because, I mean, first of all, as a B wave here, we could count it down as an A and a B and a C for the A wave here, then the B wave here, which overlaps this. That's why it's difficult to call it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. Plus also, you can see that one of the personality things here is that this length was this length. This one is longer than this one here is longer. So in a way it's expanding out, isn't it? Even though it is expanding down or up, doesn't make a difference, but that expansion is there, you know. So you could count it as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here. That's fine. You could also look at this as wave 3 here and wave 4 here, and then moving down, but wave 4 also overlaps this structure here as well. So that's also a problem as well. So there's a few problems here, but like I said, the 61.8% is here. So the market can move down further, but on the upside here, if that market was, if this A wave and B wave is correct here, then going long, but well, I mentioned that high, you can bring it down to that high. You could probably now even bring it down to this high here. So at 30.21, well, this is all of group 1 here, so this is a major trading level and these are sub levels, so 10, 20 and 30, support on top of 30 would go, but I think you could pretty much move in on probably 10 here as a support. Not when it arrives there, but the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and so on, and moving up from that point. So you could build in through group 1 here for this. Just checking on a few other things from here. Um, yeah, so so I think I just really got to leave it at that, actually. I mean, to short this market, you would need this 3,000 as the resistance, and in that case, you would need to see it like coming back down here. It's bouncing. It's here at the moment. Would need to see a little bit of a bounce come through here, and allow that to come down, into this space here where it finishes, and retest it here, and then you can go here. So, or it needs to reject that 3,000 basically, but you just need to be a little bit careful here that you don't get chopped up, because we'd want to see a clear move down into this, clear move back, and then a clear move down and taking out at this point here. Or we could also look at the 61.8% here becoming the retested resistance and short from that point. But B waves can come lower, that's the other thing with this. There is a bit of a trend line through here. That's kind of helpful as well, I guess. Well, I'll just leave it at that for the time being. Let's just see how this plays out. We're not really going to get a trend as such here. But what we could say, if that 29.50 here becomes the retested resistance, then start to build in a small position here, and then look to add under the 90 as well here. But like I mentioned on the cash market, that counts quite nicely up here as an impulse wave. But we just need to be a little bit mindful in these conditions, because they're a bit news driven from the virus. So and that's also expanding as well by the looks of it. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.